This video is brought to you from my super secret lair. It's actually just a fort. Yes, I'm not a child and I own a fort. You jelly? Hi, I'm Jenny and today we're gonna do a book tag! I dubbed this tag the book illness tag because I found it sometime back on Tumblr. I don't know who started it, so if you have, thanks for the tag, props to you. No idea where it came from. If you know it, maybe you can just tell me down below. It basically goes through 9 different illnesses and you just pick your corresponding books which remind you of the illnesses. So let's start. The first one is Diabetes, a book that's sweet, like really sweet. I'd have to go with Eleanor in Park. I just finished reading that book and it just makes me want to squeal and gush, and it's more bittersweet actually. If you've read the book, you know what I mean. And the name always reminds me of Parks and Rec. I don't know why, but I just want to hug Eleanor and I want to hug Park and hug me, baby. Just hug me. Disease number 2, Chickenpox, a book that you've read once and will never ever pick up again. That's a really hard one because I don't usually reread my books. Of course, I do reread some books, but most of the books I read once and then I just let go. But since I'm assuming that it's supposed to be kind of a negative thing, I probably have to go with The Devil Wears The Devil Wears Prada. And I just dropped my phone. Because I started reading this book after I've seen the movie. I really enjoyed the movie. The book, I didn't even finish reading it. And I think that's one of the few books that I picked up and never finished reading. It was just terrible. Andy, the main character, just kept on smoking and nothing happened and nothing seemed metropolitan or fashionista and it was just so boring. Influenza, the flu, books that have been contagious and spread like a virus. Since The Hunger Games are kind of already passé, I'd have to probably go with Divergent. If you haven't been living under a rock, then you probably know what I'm talking about. They're currently shooting the movie. Great series. It concludes this year and the new cover for Allegiant just came out. And Veronica Roth was actually joking about how she was gonna call it Detergent. And I saw a hilarious Tumblr post where they put the Allegiant cover and the Tide, the detergent, side by side, and it looks freakishly similar. I was laughing my ass off on that one. Next up, The Cycle, a book that you read every month, year, or often. Actually, most of my physical copies are at home and I try to keep my apartment here as book-free as possible because if I ever decide to move, I don't want to ludge, like books are a pain to ludge around, so I usually get ebooks, but then again I find physical copies, I gravitate towards them a lot more and I reread them a lot more than my ebooks. So long story short, when I was back at home, I used to reread Harry Potter all the time. Duh, obviously. I think I read the first book at least like 7 or 8 times. I read like the first 4 books a bunch of times, and the last 3 books like 2 or 3 times, but still quite a lot. I used to reread The Time Traveler's Wife a lot, and when I was younger, I used to reread the first 4 Artemis Fowl books a lot. They were really good. The last 3 not so much. The first 5 were very good, but I reread the first 4 a lot. Oh, and there was The Host. You don't want to know how my physical copy of The Host looks like. It looks so tattered. Insomnia, a book that kept you up all night. Okay, get ready for this. Harry Potter 6, Harry Potter 7, all the Percy Jackson books, all the Heroes of Olympus books, Divergent, Insurgent, whole Hunger Games series, I think City of Lost Souls, I'm not sure about Clockwork Prince, the Iron Fae series, the Delirium series, and the Match series. That's the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Just because I read these, it doesn't mean that I really love them. Some of these books are most certainly one of my most favorite books, but the thing is that I usually read them when they were halfway concluded or already concluded, so I just really wanted to know what was gonna happen next, so I just kept on reading. It just means the book was interesting enough that I didn't fall asleep. I did fall asleep at Clockwork Princess though, but that doesn't mean that like Clockwork Princess was such a good book, but I was just so tired that I just had to put it down. Amnesia, a book that you've forgotten and that failed to leave a powerful impression in your memory. I probably have to say Eldest, Brizinger, and Inheritance. Basically the whole entire Inheritance cycle, except for the first book, Aragon. Like, the Inheritance cycle with Aragon, it was set out to be such an epic series. I just don't know what happened. Aldous was so hard to get through, and Brizinger and Inheritance were alright, but the books were just so long and so much stuff happened that by the end of the book I forgot what happened in the beginning. And when the first two books, you know, when they came out, there used to be like summaries in the beginning, and I always wondered, you know, why does Christopher Paolini put these summaries in the beginning? But now it makes sense because I forgot what happened. And by the time Inheritance came out, I couldn't be bothered to read the first 3 books. I just kind of lost interest in the characters and the plot, partly because it just took him so long to get these books out there. I don't usually judge authors. They should just take as much time as they need to write a good book, except for Riordan. Please give me House of Hades now. Yeah, not a powerful impression. I was kind of disappointed at the end, but yay to Aragon. It's a really good book. Asthma, a book that took your breath away. Now, books that took my breath away in a positive kind of way were definitely The Fault in Our Stars, Eleanor and Park, and probably Clockwork Princess. And books that just shattered me on the floor, more specifically a book, was Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Spoiler alert, when Dumbledore died, I felt like my world ended. I could not comprehend why. Why would J.K. Rowling kill off Dumbledore? The world just didn't make any sense anymore. Hogwarts with no Dumbledore. You know, after the Deathly Hallows, everything makes sense, but at that time, I was devastated. I was just so devastated. Malnutrition, a book that lacked food for thought. Twilight. Now, hold your horses, I'm not bashing Twilight. I really loved Twilight when it came out. I was totally on the Twilight train, but now thinking back on it, it's basically a girl obsessing over a guy and how her life means nothing without that guy. You could call that food for thought, but Jacob's not even in the picture, so there's not even like the love triangle. It's just, yeah, it's Twilight. Travel Sickness, a book that took you on a journey through time and space. Doctor! There are a couple of books. Firstly, The Time Traveler's Wife. It used to be my favorite book for a long time. It was just so sad and heartbreaking, and maybe I'm just a really depressed person, I don't know. Then there is The Kite Runner and A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I just love these books. They have just such great stories, and they play in Afghanistan, and usually we don't get to go to Afghanistan, except if you're like from Afghanistan. And he's coming out with a new book this month, and I'm so psyched about it, and I can't wait to read it, and I hope I'll love it as much as I loved his other previous books. So yeah, this concludes the book tag. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you wanna, you know, join me on this book tag, please feel free to do so. As always, you can stalk me on Goodreads, and et voila! Let's hope we didn't contract any STDs for being connected through the internet. See you next time. Mwah. Bye. I usually read these series when they were concluded or when more than the lighting, why do you keep changing? Change back.